Yo, I'm back. How long was that starting soon? Oh, 20 minutes. Sorry, I was blowing my nose the whole time. Max, I need you to tell me what spec domain so I can go back to my guild and act like I'm better than everyone by playing what the streamer said was BIS. Damn, are y'all like didn't you're not yeah, I'm not sick. Um it's not even time for that yet. The expansion's not out. You'll have enough time to level characters. Don't worry, little gup. Max, call Meg. She's in dire straits. What's going on? Do you think Shark even makes it to 90? Yeah, he'll make it there. She ended her stream pretty quick and called "It's over." She talked about putting her character down. Mega's recommended Mistweavers level a different guy. Oh, so she's having an old-fashioned crash out. That's fun. It's been a while. Nice old little crash out. Bean Dealer making a comeback? I can't do classic, man. All right, I'll go live. I'll do it. I don't know for how long though. I'm not feeling very well today. Not sick though. They reverted the Mythic Plus rewards for doing 18s. The classic Annies were going feral on the Blizzard Twitter account yesterday. About what? Wait, what's the deal? Wowhead. TBC maintenance lasted like 30 hours. Oh. I mean, that's fair beans. You already released that shit. What's going wrong? Oh, here we go. Max, the Race to World Last viewing experience is elite this tier. I don't even know when to watch it. All right, 1 second. Dogs are barking. Can't think. I'd recommend watching Monday night. Yes, I'm going to do like Sunday, Monday night. Someone said if I was a dog, I'd bark all day. Dude, so true. My guild is about ready to explode. 450 pulls and a 3% wipe. I mean, you're about to kill it, dude. You're good. Max, you think Fellowship is dead? I mean, yeah, it's dead until the next season, and then it'll be alive. I'm looking forward to that, actually. What'd they post today? Anything interesting? I know yesterday was all that add-on nonsense. We can get into that. When was this today? Oh, here we go. This is from today, right? There's a new affix for baby tanks. Max, are Dratnos and Tettles gonna have a fight to the death at the next race over what WoW podcast is better? Bro, it's not close. Um, so add-on Apocalypse fake news. Huh? Oh yeah, that was the thing yesterday, right? Like people think because people have found ways around doing a lot of this stuff. It's definitely not a great look, but I still think the main thing they wanted to get rid of is like computational things solving fights, and that has mostly been killed outside of blatantly cheating. So I think that has been accomplished, but like a lot of the other stuff that got kind of caught in the crossfire, people have found ways around. But the problem is they've made their stance like we don't want any add-on to give you an advantage over not over having like base UI. Like if it's skinning something, it's fine. And that has gone for a wild ride. Like there's all kinds of stuff you can still do that is in quotes an advantage. It's just not like a weak aura solving the fight for you. So yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see if they start cracking down on that stuff or if they just let it go by. Or if they're just kind of like, it's so close to the expansion, we're just going to like let it go. Some people have been making the argument, or not making the argument, but Towley was like, they're going to pull the add-on ripcord. I don't believe that. Like, I guess that in the truest sense of the word is they're going to go back and revert all this stuff. To me, 0% chance that happens. I think the reality of what's likely to happen is they're going to have the stuff they put in place now. There will be add-ons popping up that can do most of the stuff that was originally removed. But the reason it was removed was like the way that the old add-ons were able to do it was just removed, but you could still do it just a different way, and those add-on makers didn't want to keep making it. It's also more annoying, you know? Like before it's like weak auras did 90% of the stuff for you, and now you can do those same things besides the computational stuff. You just need 15 add-ons to replace weak auras. Until someone, I guess, makes an add-on that does all of it, but what is this message? Max, what if hypothetically speaking you started losing the race to a guild that screams at each other after every wipe, and during breaks they would get into fistfights and say fuck you to the trials, and every time they didn't kill the boss by the end of the day they were denied food the next day? Are you just like, is this all like fanfic? That's pretty wild. Or is that like real shit? Is there a guild that does that? I mean, the only guilds... I think there was like some lore about like Echo getting in a fight like now and some other player like a couple tiers ago. This was like years ago, actually. I mean, there was one. There was the like the Chinese guild, right? That recruited all like the top parsing players in the region, and they put them up in a hotel for a race, and then COVID happened, and they died 2 weeks into the race, but they couldn't leave for 2 months because of COVID, and they were literally getting in fights. That's actually a real story. But I don't know about. I mean, that guild's dead, so you're not talking about them. Guys, we got a problem. So if you listened to our last podcast, we looked at... Basically, Dorky brought up that, dude, people in PvP cheat all the time with, like, kickbots and stuff. Like, why don't people do that in PvE? And I was like, I don't think anyone does that. And I was just speaking about the high end, that no one in a good guild does this. And I was like, I just can't believe any player does this. Actually, I think my official stance was I don't believe any good player would ever do this. I still think that might be true. But we were reached out to by many people that either say they themselves use things or people in their guild do. And I find this very interesting, and I want to interview one of them. We want to. But I'm having an issue with finding a good way to do this without advertising it. Just don't name the program. Yeah, but like, I don't know. I feel like if you describe it enough, people will find it. I mean, basically all it is, as far as I know, is it's just a rotation bot. Like there are rotation bots apparently available that will just literally play your character for you if you move it around. Which is some like baby bitch shit, right? But like there are some baby bitches out there. Lots of people would cheat but don't know cheats exist. Yeah. Like the fact that none of us had ever heard of one tells you that it's obviously not prominent. But apparently it exists. And now my next question is, and I don't know if we'll ever know the answer to this, but what's the highest ranked guild that has a player that the people in their guild perceive as good but actually is cheating in PvE? I would find that to be fascinating. I'm positive it's none of the like I mean, even when I rated top 20 world, top 30 world, there's literally no way. Someone like that would be so obvious. Because here's the thing. These like rotation bots or however they work, right? Unless these people literally make them themselves, all those guilds at the high end raid test, and like on raid testing you're not going to have that shit working, so like you would easily get found out unless you post it out of all raid testing. Because like what some of these people said is like it takes a little bit into the tier a lot of the times for it to work, and like it's really noticeable. So like I don't know, basically do you guys know how in FPS games you can watch someone move for 15 seconds on stream, and without ever seeing them shoot, you could basically guess their skill level if you know what you're doing? I feel like in WoW, there's a lot to be said about that. Like, if you're raiding in a top 20 WoW guild and you saw someone that had to cheat to use a rotation bot to play this game at a high level, you would fucking instantly know. Like, there's no fucking way. You just never want to do any content with them. They'd be so bad. Also, the higher you go up, you're not going to be impressed by just damage. Yeah. Do you think an actually good player would cheat? I mean, there's been examples of like cheaters in other games that are actually really good and they're using it for that extra edge. The issue is WoW PV isn't competitive enough to do that. Like, I mean, history has shown that people will cheat if they can give if they're given the opportunity to. Uh, right. Here's my theory as to why you don't see this at the high end is at any point where you decide I'm going to use a rotation bot, I'm going to cheat. You are the kind of person where when faced with adversity or difficulty learning something, you take the easy way out. And that mindset alone is 1 second. That mindset alone is prohibiting anyone from getting better. If you are a person, if you're someone in Liquid or Echo or whatever, like to get that good, you have to your process for solving problems and improving is so rigid and like you're really good at it, right? You like are really self-critical, you look at the stuff you're doing wrong, you learn from it, you VOD review, all that stuff. Right? If you were to take any of those people and just be like, okay, anytime something hard, I'm just gonna like, I'll just find a cheat for it. You wouldn't get good at anything, right? You're replacing the thing that makes you good with some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my theory as to why it doesn't exist at the high end. But also there are games in other there are games again where like I think like pro CS players, I don't know how often have like literally been caught cheating. Right, but I'm never sure that's like the very best of the best, the like actual goats of the game. You know, they're like people who might play lower end pro, but like I don't know enough about it. But yeah, I mean, I would bet like literally anything that like there is not a player in the top at least top 20 world that uses anything like that. And past that, I'm not super confident about it, but yeah. No amount of cheats or auto rotation is going to stop Timmy from getting clipped by the breaths on Nexus King. I mean, there's another line of thinking though. If you're cheating your rotation to be perfect and your full focus is on just not getting clipped by breaths on Nexus King, wouldn't you assume that maybe they could get away with that? But at the same time, it's like, again, if you're ever resorting to a rotation bot in PvE WoW, you're so obscenely dog shit at the game that it would be very obvious to anyone who's good, I think. No top CS pro has ever been caught cheating. Only one has been caught. The only one that has been caught was one player in a top 3 team back in around 2016 and 2017 that was caught with a previous account that was banned for cheating. Oh, interesting. Well, I know people used to say like Flusha was a cheater, right? But like I think that was all bullshit. I'm pretty sure. Or is that the person you're referring to? I don't follow this very closely at all. Purely like headline reader over here. No one in CS got caught cheating except for this guy that got caught cheating. Well, he's saying he wasn't caught cheating. He said that like they found out he owned an account beforehand that got banned for cheating. But that doesn't mean he was cheating professionally, right? Nah, his name was Kukli or whatever, French pro. Flusha got called cheating by bad casuals. Oh, got it. I think part of it is in FPS games, people do it to troll other people. You can't get a rise out of an NPC. Sure. Okay. That's psycho shit, though. Like, you're an actual fucking psychopath. Yo, full pivot. What does Chick-fil-A sauce taste like? Sauce? Is it like cane sauce? Is like that kind of, is that kind of vibe? Well, you haven't had any? Nah, I always get barbecue. Also, dude, does anyone else? I haven't eaten Chick-fil-A in a little bit, but one thing that genuinely bothers me with Chick-fil-A is their sauce packets are so hard to open. Like when you open any sauce packet from any other fast food place, it peels right off. With Chick-fil-A, you have to do it really carefully, or it's gonna like rip in two, and you have to like peel it twice. It's like the only place that does that. It's so interesting. You're sitting down with Chick-fil-A right now? Yeah, I might get it later. I don't know why. I have a very strict diet. I eat purely for performance, like every day of the year. I have cheat days every now and then, but I do every time I get sick. I treat the entire time of being sick as a cheat day. I don't know why. Maybe because it feels good, but it's fucking awesome. Do you have a new sleep cocktail ready for the race? I don't do any of that shit anymore. I'm like very serious about my sleep. I used to take 10 grams of melatonin. I would take ZzzQuil and ZzzQuil Extra, which were two different antihistamines. Grams? Oh, milligrams. Yeah, sorry, not grams, bro. Yeah, yeah, no, I'm not that. That's insane. I think you would you die? Would you just never wake up? Yeah, but I low key just go to sleep when I need to. Bro, that is such an insane hack. If you're just naturally built that way where you just like go to sleep and it's you just sleep, that's just so insane. Although maybe it is a grass is greener thing. Like I remember they did this poll one time that was people who had trouble sleeping through the night but could fall asleep instantly, and people that had trouble falling asleep, but once they went to sleep, they slept through the night. Right? They polled each of those people and polled which one would you rather be, and they all picked the other one. Like all the people that were like could fall asleep instantly were like, man, I bet it'd be so nice if I could sleep through the night. And then the other one said the other thing. But bro, there's people out there that can do both. Like I find it really hard to go to sleep, and I also cannot nap. Doesn't I don't nap. Doesn't work. Can't do it. My brain's just like hella wired. Max, do you take creatine? Hell yeah. Only like 5 milligrams though. I know people have been like crazy macro dosing creatine or creatine. I don't know. I don't know about that. Have you tried way less melatonin? I found the actual doses they give to help me go to sleep. It kept me awake in weird dreams. Now I literally get 5 milligrams and cut them in thirds, and it's perfect. I actually did a lot of research on this. Yeah, basically, if you want to take melatonin to help you sleep, obviously it should be short term. A lot of people will tell you that, like it's literally a hormone, so your body will stop producing it if you take enough of it over a long period of time, which is not good. Um, like if you guys have ever taken a lot of melatonin to sleep consistently and then you forget to take it, it's like you literally can't go to sleep because your body's not making it. But yeah, a lot of people would do better with 1 milligram or 0.5 milligrams. Because taking more than that actually does affect your sleep and will wake you up in the middle of the night. Not to mention the grogginess in the morning. You'll literally sleep better with less melatonin. Or just don't take it, obviously. But I mean, I'm not going to bother telling you that because, like, I'm sure a lot of you guys have had AI or Google or whatever tell you to not take melatonin or like a literal doctor. And they're right, but like you struggle falling asleep, so you're going to do it. I wish you would have had this conversation yesterday. I was literally at Walmart and figured I needed the 10 milligrams because I'm a bigger guy. Bro, 10 milligrams of melatonin is an absolutely psychotic amount. Do you know your body to go to sleep naturally, if you're just like a built normal human, do you know you produce like less than 1 milligram of melatonin in your body like every night? That's how little. So you're giving your body 10 times that amount. It literally has no idea what the fuck's going on. That's me. I was rocking 2 milligrams consistently for like a year. I stopped over the holidays and sleep was terrible. Now I'm back because I'm a bitch. Yeah, I'm a bitch too, dude. I steady be taking that. I was also taking some edibles before bed too. And then I did a bunch of research because I was just like, it was fine, but I think I was taking too much, and I was becoming increasingly irritable during the day. One thing I really noticed is whenever I lost a hockey game, which I play hockey games all the time, I'm gonna lose all the time, right? Like, let's just say you win. Let's just say you win 50% of every hockey game you play, or 60 even. Fuck it. Let's say you have a good whatever, bro. I'm still. That would mean I'm losing 3 games a week, or something like that. So I was getting so upset when we lost. I was like non-verbal in the locker room, instantly got undressed and went home. I was so upset. Uh and then I was like, dude, this is so weird. I've never been like this. And the only thing that changed from me having it was taking the edibles. So I did a bunch of research and apparently that's like kind of a thing. Like I might have been taking too much, but apparently like when you take a certain amount of THC, like I don't even want to start pretending the explanation. I read it at some point, but it was like it like dulls your dopamine receptors or something. It can make you increasingly irritable. Stop taking it, completely went away. That was with 10. That was with 10 milligrams of THC every night though, which is kind of a lot. Fucking fully stoned before bed. I was trying to fall asleep, bro. Sometimes I did get extremely high though. You used to eat 100 milligrams a day back in the day, bro. Holy fuck, you are a tank. Max, you got influenza A, bro. I don't know what I have. Every single time I get sick, which I'm not sick by the way. Um, every time I get sick, I get all right. Day before, I'm like in quotes really sick, even though obviously I'm like already sick. Day before I'm gonna get sick, I get a little baby sore throat, like just a whiff of a sore throat. Day two, real bad sore throat. Day three, sore throat gone, and then I'm congested. That's today. Day 4, all symptoms gone forever. This has been every sickness I've gotten, except for I got bronchitis one time, which was very different. But anytime I get like ill for any reason, it is exactly that. That's exactly how my body deals with everything, and then it's over. Oh, and throw in like a little headache at the end of day 2. Got that last night too. Do you get sickness on a cooldown so you won't be sick for a long time, or are you normal? I think it's like pretty infrequent. I've been like not sick for an entire year before, and then I've been sick. I don't know. Max, do you watch The Pit? No, I'm a huge bitch. I don't like watching any like gore or really any like open wounds or like the idea of like a good way to torture me would be like doing one of those things where they pry your eyes open so you can't close them, right? And then like just making me watch a surgery scene from The Pit. I would at that point the most humane thing to do would be to just kill me. Like, I don't want to see that shit. Or like yeah, watching sports injuries. I don't like any body stuff. Blech. You haven't been sick in almost 3 years now? It's coming for you, buddy. I'm going to personally infect you, kid. Just because I'm mad that that's true about you. All right, so they made some changes. Hype. What was the other big announcement today? Oh, yeah, they removed. Someone said they removed the rewards from Mythic Plus from the 18s. Is that true? Great Vault reward scaling reverted to a plus 10 on Midnight Beta. Look, I know this is going to upset some people, and it even goes against a bit of my philosophy where like I feel like the harder content you do, the better rewards should be. That's just a thing, right? That makes sense in a lot of other areas of the game. Why wouldn't it make sense for Mythic Plus? I don't know. I just feel like 18s are so hard that especially in week 1 of a new expansion, I just feel like this would actually just it'd be a pretty not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but I feel like this would worm their way into people's brains and just make them crash the fuck out. It was a data mine change, no official announcement. Oh, that's so good. This was none of this was even real yet. I didn't even realize that. I thought there was a post about it. It's so funny how like someone could literally just mistype an 8 for a 0 and then it just has all this discourse happen for such a long time and then it ended up never being intended ever. But people crashed out before and after. That's how you know you have motion, by the way. When you just like mistype something on a beta build or something just gets data mined wrong and people are mad and it's not even real. If the Mythic Plus dev team was actually good, they would remove all rewards from Mythic Plus and all rewards from the game as a whole. Yeah. Yeah, actually you're right. You're right. I hope that's the case for the Spirit Link totem change. Wait, what'd they do to Spirit Link? Or does SLT mean something else? Salamander Lizard Team. What did they do to the team? New data mine said Stone Legion teenagers ticks every 5 seconds. Hell yeah. Why does the difficulty of 18s in week 1 matter? It's a reward which can be accessed later in the season more regularly and can still be good. You're smart. That's true. The issue is that for 8 years, people have been just accustomed to just doing whatever content gives them the weekly key. Like gives them the highest Great Vault reward. And before the Great Vault, it was the weekly chest. That has increased over time, and the few times they've made massive jumps, it's like really affected people because people were starting to do keys that they weren't good enough to do just because they felt like they had to do it because it gave them the best thing. And that basically just made people not have as much fun with the game because they were forcing themselves to do content they weren't made to do. And this, I felt like, probably would have had a similar reaction. Boosting would have been rampant as well. Nah, boosting's whatever. Boosting's always going to happen. I would say it's more. It would also just like be increasing the gap between the really good player and the average player as far as their eye level week on week. And I feel like that's a very careful bar. They're already moving it a little bit in the expansion. I think they're really trying not to like have that be crazy different. Max, we've had 6 weeks of zero Windwalker changes. Yo, to be completely honest with you, someone messaged me the other day and they were like, yo, can you cause a stink about Windwalker because it's so bad? Here, here actually they said, here's exactly what they said. Max, I need you. Windwalker needs God, and you're the only one who can get changes. Everyone else is like, Windwalker is fine when it's not. As it's someone just random DM out of nowhere. Was his name Paul? Nah, it was Tree. Max with Weakor is becoming defunct. Do you have a plan for how to handle splits and loot? Yeah. Will you answer the call? I'm not really following it right now. Did you get the plus 18 reward killed? Yep, I did that myself. Wait, new login screen. Ooh, that hits. That hits for sure. WoW art team undefeated. Does Devour do enough for you to play WoW post-race rolled first for at least 3 days? I'm not playing Devour. That shit's boring. But Frosty K looks really fun. Currently leaning towards that. By the way, that's just my opinion. A lot of people actually really like Devour. I just think it sucks. Wait, new Mythic Plus affix provides basic dungeon route in Midnight and low-level keys. Blizzard has announced a new Mythic Plus affix for Midnight, which provides a basic dungeon route for low-level Midnight dungeons. Lindormi's Guidance. While this is active, a certain on-boss enemies will be afflicted with temporal sands, visually highlighting them and reducing their health and damage done. Defeating these marked enemies will fulfill 100% of the count. Oh, this is very smart. This is very smart. Is this available on all keys or week to week? These routes are not intended to be optimal for higher end play. Instead, they're meant to serve as a foundation for groups learning the dungeons. This is so good. It's all 2 to 5 keys. Yep. This is something that doesn't affect me at all, but I think this is actually one of the better decisions they've made. Again, in theory. A lot of things in theory sound good. I don't know how they play out. This just sounds like such a really good idea. Like, tanking is so hard, and, like, the expectation is that the tank knows what to do when you zone in, and this just eliminates that problem in the keys where people are the most new. So, great. Great change. Dratnos unemployed? Yeah. Dude, you know what's crazy is Dratnos hasn't made routes in like 5 years or something, but people still say Dratnos route. That's motion right there. The negative to it is people are going to say, I didn't have to learn a route in 2s to 5s. Why do I have to do it in a plus 10 that I need for Vault? I mean, the reality is I imagine whatever route this is will work to time a plus 10. Right? Obviously, all that scales. If you have 5 people in the group who are bots, maybe you won't. But, yeah. All it does is just, like, give people a starting point. L. Dratnos, he was on the bench. Yeah, the fuck was that about? Dude, I'm blocking everyone on my podcast who's appeared on the bench. Are you excited for the next race? Yeah. Has it already been? Is it already that time? Are we getting stuff like that? All right, let's check the. Resilient keys are dividing the community.
In Season 2 of War Within, resilient keys were introduced to answer constant complaints about key depletion, heavily impacting the M+ scene in the process. Opinions on resilient keys are very polarizing. Many players love the concept of a progression-based environment which is more respectful of people's time, but other players absolutely hate how Mythic Plus is turning.
Wait, so what did the poll results? Let me go to this. What? Okay. Let's see.
General questions for general play with more than the responded questions, and this got 470 responses. I had some general.
Do you like resilient keys? What key level did you play? What did you like about them? What did you dislike about them?
Questions about what content the responder does, and some optional.
And here are you.
Short answer questions to allow those who are passionate to share their opinions. The first question of do you like resilient keys had roughly the same result.
That's what I would expect, right? It's just. 470 responses to represent the entire player base. Oh, bro, it's so hard to get poll responses. You could have 10,000 viewers and you'll get less than 1,000 people to respond to any poll. It's really hard. I think that's also true with like polling or voting for anything. But yeah, This is what I would expect. I mean, it's positive, but there are like some issues with it. I think the main thing about Resilient is it better than what it replaced? And the answer is yes. I'm imagining the people who don't like it are going to be very high end based because that's where like the people selling keys comes into play, and that's like a huge issue where like most people don't have to deal with that going up to like a 12 or whatever. Or like I know it literally starts at 12, but
Result is the Twitter poll, and the responders of this poll were reasonably evenly split between people.
okay, 35% play 13 to 16. 4% of the people who voted on this poll do 2 to 12 keys, but also these keys don't have Resil. Yeah.
Doing 13s to 16s, 17s to 19s, and 20s to 22s. I felt like these were a good distinction between casual M+, mid-end M+, and title range M+, in the respondents. As expected, not many people who do 2 to 12 keys answer this poll because there are no Resil keys at that range. So here is the first really interesting thing. Resilient keys are overwhelmingly popular at the 13 to 16 range. 80% of people doing entry-level push keys love Resil, and rightfully so, depletion is kinda pointless at that key level. These are the type of players that are busy and cannot play that much as is. The time spent in a key alone is enough of a cost. The key depleting on top of that just makes them not want to play.
Yeah, this is why I wonder why they don't do Resil for every single key level. Like, I'm not worried about people selling 10s because there's going to be so many 10s. The issue with selling 20s or whatever is that almost no one has them, right? I don't know.
There are also more players pugging at this key level, and some of the people you find in pugs obviously do not know what's going on, so Resil can be a bit of a safety net for that. And Resilient milestones are also a nice reward and incentive to push at a key range where there is no motivation of title. Now moving on from this to the 17 to 19 range, which I would call the mid-range of pushers who are close to title but not quite. The results push away a little back to the 60-40 split in favor of Resil. I think a lot of the points I made on the lower key range also apply to this key range. Depletion is definitely still a frustrating obstacle, and most people here are.
This isn't indicative of the player base at all. Useless poll. I mean, this dude's like a WoW PvE creator, I believe, kind of Mythic Plus focused. And his viewer base is also Mythic Plus focused. I mean, it's gonna trend high end, but I mean, what else do you have to compare it to, right? I don't think it's useless.
But this is the key range where it can start to take a lot of tries to get a Resil key down. Some toxicity probably starts to be observed, and of course this is where the LFG boosting trend begins. A lot of individual players will list their Resilient 18 to 20 key with note or note tip in the description with the intention of only inviting people who are paying. This is a major complaint about Resil at these key levels, and it can...
Isn't that the complaint? Isn't the note tip problem, if you guys are unfamiliar with this, he just explained it, but basically, if you want to play the game, you have to pay the person who has the Resilient 17 you want to do. It's insane. It's obviously dog shit, right? But yeah, sorry. Is this not a like this? Isn't this the only problem?
Make it difficult and annoying to find a legitimate group to do a key. So now it is time for the massive contrast. At the high end of the community, we have the people at title range, people pushing for rank 1, and also most streamers and...
Yeah, oh, sorry, there is two. There's people that are just like know someone with Resil that comes in and scoops title at the last second. But that would be true with or without Resil.
Content creators. This 20 to 22 group of key pushers have a very negative result of 24% for and 76% against the Resil keys. And it is very clear why. This is where the cracks in the system start to show. You have boosting out in full force with LFG being swarmed by note tip keys. You have spreadsheets being made.
How big is note tip in NA? I know it's a thing in EU. Someone in chat said there's one guy in NA that does it. Is that facts or is that not facts? It's not big. Okay.
Boosting out in full force with LFG being swarmed by note tip keys. You have spreadsheets being made exposing people who buy keys. You have drama around groups leeching Resil Floodgate and sinking in way too many attempts to time one. You have groups who end up timer farming for score on a Resil key that +1 level would be impossible.
Even using our own Resilient keys for a faster timer, can I say wholeheartedly this version of Resilient was a mistake? I would still really like to see it brought down to 3 attempts equals brick on Resilient key, which would mitigate and help most scenarios it was made for. Oh, I kind of like that. Your key starts to crack.
possible on. And there are the times you join a Resil key and people are just so much less focused because they know they can just go again. Now you might say, oh, this is just a small portion of the player base, they don't matter. But in reality, if that was the argument, we just would...
That is true. But the thing is it's a small portion of the player base, but it also resilient keys only applies to those people. Right? If you're not doing 12s, like people who do 12 and up are already an extremely small portion of the player base, and that's the only thing resilient applies to. So they're the only people whose opinions matter.
Not have M+ at all. Like, there are flaws all around with resilient keys, and I believe there is a solution that could be found that makes the system better for everyone. Now, I had these 2 multiple choice questions asking people what they liked and disliked about resilient keys. I put in some common arguments for and against that I had regularly heard, and also included a short answer option for people to give their own opinions. A lot of interesting points were made, and I'd like to organize a few positives and negatives of resilient keys. Starting with positives, the homework key situation is very simple, and I can't see many people arguing against it. It was the most popular opinion out of the 4 I gave. A homework key is what it is called when, say, you deplete a 20, it turns into a 19 that you have already timed, but you have to do that 19 again to push it back up to a 20, that is homework. And you could make mistakes in that homework key, deplete it, and then it turns into an 18, and now you have to do 2 homework keys, 18 into 19. If you have 19 resil, that is avoided, and your homework is more chill and can be less time consuming. Resil keys are also good for the pug scene. A lot of times when you pug a key, especially in the lower ranges, you will have absolute clueless people sign up. They don't use defensives, don't use stops, don't know routes. Sometimes you just run into someone who has no idea how to play their class. Resil keys give a level of insurance against that. A key being Resil also could lessen the desire for meta classes. A Resil key holder is probably more likely to invite off-meta applicants, although I do question how often that has actually happened.
Aren't we literally at iteration 1 of resilient keystones? Chill the fuck out, community. What? How do you think new iterations get made? You come out with one, and then you get feedback on it, and then you change it. This is just that process, right? I mean, I get it. You probably just have an aversion to complaining, so you're like, I just don't like when anyone's complaining. I kind of feel that, but...
Resil keys are also nice in that they enable an M+er to use their key for their friends. Maybe a chill night with your guildies that don't usually do keys, you suggest giving a go at your Resil key for some fun. And something that I think is typically overlooked is that Resil keys give people something to strive towards. In an M+ system where there are absolutely no rewards between a mount for your weekly 12s and a title for organized players doing 20s and 21s, Resilient is a nice little micro milestone for every key level that keeps people striving towards something. Now the downsides I think run a bit deeper. Those who are against Resil are definitely a bit more passionate than those who are for Resil. I actually had about double...
Like, I totally get the note key thing, and I get the go again thing.
The short answer responses for what people disliked about Resil compared to what people liked. So one inadvertent downside of a Resil key is that the cost of the key is removed. People end up making mistakes, they brush it off and go again because it's Resil. Someone else makes a mistake, you go again, and so on. It's not like making mistakes is new, but the psychology behind it is a bit different. People definitely play better when there is something at stake. And then this has also been exaggerated a bit in Season 3 after they added the abandon system. One thing goes wrong in the key, instant/abandon. I've had so many keys this season that were just so easily timeable and my group just gave up. Another concern is that Resil keys can turn live gameplay into MDI gameplay. When a team is practicing for MDI, they have full access to any key they want at any level and can play it over and over and over again. In the high M+ community, this is generally referred to as TR gameplay, short for Tournament Realm, where they play the MDI on. Something we are seeing these last 2 seasons on live is that teams are using resilient keys as practice keys. For example, running a 20 over and over again, trying a new route until they have it down, and then going 21 with it. On the extreme end of this, we see groups who have identified they cannot +1 any more keys, end up going into a resilient key and running it over and over again for points from timer. We saw this in Season 2 where the top group spent like 4 days straight on stream and 21 priority to get this faster time. There was a tweet from Shadowrek back then. His group had timed a 20 priority and then just went on to do the same 20 priority over and over again for a faster timer, as they didn't think they could time any other score keys. You might say, well, you don't have to do this, but M+ is a team game, and if the team wants to push for the most optimal score, you can't just say no without making it awkward. And in these Resil practice keys, you have to be practicing something. The pulls are harder, they are more technical, they become more reminiscent of what we see in the MDI. And this brings me to another point. I think Resil...
Oh, that's a really good point, actually. Like, it just totally changes the route. Because they know you can go again, you try some extremely risky shit, and that can just get old really fast.
...is making M+ harder. Resil changes the way we play keys. The meta for what we pull is more extreme as we have more practice, so keys are harder as a result. Resil also improves our access to higher keys, making the average key level one needs to do for a comparative rank to be higher. The 0.1% title in War Within Season 2 and Season 3 is significantly higher relative to the maximum key level than it was in any other season. For every season since they introduced title, I took the average key level of the rank 1 group and compared it to the average key level you would need to get the M+ title. In Shadowlands, the title just came out and the difference was about 3.5. In Dragonflight, the difference was about 2.5. And in War Within Resil seasons, the difference is looking to be around 1.7. So if you're going for title now that Resil exists, you are doing keys very close to the maximum possible, meaning that the DPS requirements, healing requirements, routes, comp, all matter a lot more than they used to. And of course this makes pugging a lot harder. Title is basically out of reach for people who main pugs now. It is a debate whether that actually matters, but regardless, anyone doing keys is now doing proportionally harder keys than they would have been at the same level in previous seasons. I also did some research into the per key difficulty gap. My theory was that Resil existing gave a lot of incentive to push the hardest key and shorten this gap, but after looking into it, I think the data is inconclusive and could just be a result of these seasons being more balanced. Priority still feels so hard for how many 21s have been done though. Now you could say that this increase in title is because of an increase in boosting. It's going to be incredibly hard to verify that. I don't know if anyone has the stats, but Resil has definitely seen a rise in boosting, both through paid sales and also the new no
boosting would exist
tip trend. This trend is more common in EU. There are a lot of people in the 19 to 20 key range that will list a Resil key, have the description say something inconspicuous like note, and then they will only invite people who put a note offering gold for an attempt at the Resil key. I don't have an EU account, so I haven't been able to witness it myself, but I have heard at some point it was so rampant it took up 90% of LFG for those levels. And
dude, what is wrong with EU? Why are you guys doing this? Apparently in NA it's not really a thing. Why y'all doing this note tip? Just don't even allow it. Just fuck you. Fuck you.
in Midnight, there is a carry offered option
Fucking boosted.
when listing a group. Not sure what's up with that. This boosting issue was by far the most selected option for this category in my poll. It is very unpopular. Now these negative options are all about Resil keys being too much, but there is also a big downside that even for someone who likes resilient keys, they are not enough. A resilient key doesn't actually provide forward progression for anyone. It merely serves as a safety net, a training ground, or a charity run. Anyone who has a resilient key has already timed that key. They aren't actually moving up by doing it. And the current implementation of Resil greatly rewards people who have friends that are going to give them these Resil keys. It kind of
low-key, I feel like most of the madness that involves Mythic Plus could be understood better as if it was entirely intended that if you ever went above 12, it was because you were playing with a strong network or a group of friends. Like, I think trying to pug above a 12 and get title is like trying to fit something into a... Like, it's like the oh, it's the square hole. We're going to put in the triangle, even though obviously the bit is that they all fit there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's basically trying to do something that isn't made to be done. Like, you pretty much have to have friends at that point. And I think Blizzard wants you to, like, get that network is kind of the bit.
feels like there are two sides of the player base on either end, and Resil currently doesn't solve the problems of either of them. Now, I had a long form response question in my poll asking how people would change Resil. It got 250 responses, and I would like to thank everyone for that. I've seen a few solutions very commonly suggested. I think the most common suggestion is Resil +1, which refers to a loosening of the Resil system, such that timing or 16s, for example, would give you Resilient 17, allowing for a stronger progression curve. This is something suggested very often, even Gingy at some point brought it up, but I think it is a lot more layered than people realize. I brought up the concept of TR keys earlier, and a system like this would very quickly accelerate groups to a point of no progression. The biggest barrier to increasing score at the moment is the acquisition of keys. Without this, the main resource behind increasing score is time rather than skill, and a system like this would reward those who invest superfluous amount of times, and following the meta would probably just become even more mandatory than it currently is. On my point of Resil making keys harder, this will make keys much harder. Everyone would end up just getting to their skill caps so much faster, and a season would die off faster. If something like this was being implemented, it would have to come with some kind of week per week variance, like affixes coming back, but I don't think affixes should come back, at least in any state like they were. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe the season would feel less dead if we still had Fort and Tyran. That's a question for another time though. Also, a Resil +1 system would have a severe impact on the very top end. Every key would become an MDI key. You see them pushing 23s on MDI this season. That is what groups would have to do on live, but the success rate of these keys is so low. If anyone remembers, I did do TGP time trials in season 1. It was pretty rough. I was already a bit checked out for the season. We did 3 straight days just trying to do 20 mists. We would lose keys to RNG on the first boss burn. We got into some arguments about kicks. It was just a really lame situation all around. Something like this is how you would play if you had Resil +1. I think Resil Resil+1 is a system that could work on lower keys though. Now there are a lot of solutions in the other direction to make Resil keys more
I like this. I like Resil keys have charges. I think that's fair.
restrictive and fix some of the other issues that Resil keys have. One suggestion is to give Resil keys charges, such that, say, depleting a Resil key a third time would actually deplete it. I think a system like this would be good to kneecap the boosting and key grinding scenes while still having the benefits for the homework key situation. It isn't very common to deplete the same key 3 times if your group has already timed it. It would be a bit of a middle ground for pugs though. You would still be losing something. There is also the suggestion to give Resil keys a cooldown. Say if you deplete a Resil key, it goes on cooldown for an hour and you have to go a different key. I think this is a cool concept that keeps the puggability of keys intact, but there is a massive flaw in that there will be situations where the optimal play in a key session is to just stop doing keys and come back in an hour. I don't think this will work well. There is a suggestion which benefits the low end and high end, which is to simply cap Resil keys to 18. It is a pretty simple solution. I just don't know if it's the best because I think Resil is made to solve a problem and that problem would still exist. And the final common suggestion is that Resil keys should not give score or they should give reduced score. I think this is kind of weird. If it were to be implemented, it would be really confusing and annoying. Like imagine you plug into a key you haven't timed yet, you end up timing the key on the first try, you look at how much score you got +0 for this score key you got because the key owner was secretly resilient. Now I don't want to sit on the fence too much, so I will provide what I think would be the best solution. The needs and wants of the 13 to 16 category and the 20 to 22 category in my poll were so wildly different that I don't think any one solution will benefit everyone. So I think a distinction should be made at the 18 mark. A distinction that is already being made in Midnight with the vault change. In my...
This is outdated. The vault change was just a weird data mine, not true. Wait, 3 out of 6 Mythic Vault, 18 Resil with charges. Oh, I mean, yeah. Okay. We're going to move on. Wait, friend made this possible for Race World Last content. Total 7 out of 8 guilds streaming 1. There's 25 guilds currently on it. Current best is 2%. And they have 3 viewers and they have 400 polls. Wait, this is amazing. Oh, you can't sign into Twitch on this website. Can you? Because I don't watch ads. I am like, I know this is probably unrelatable, but I am so tilted by ads. If I see an ad on anything I'm ever watching, I like fiendishly buy the premium version of that thing to never see an ad. We were watching something the other night, and the only way to find this movie was on this app that I think there is no premium. It's just they play ads. I don't know the name of the ad, the app. Who's on our TV? That's just the bit. We just had to rent it. Like we just had to rent the fucking movie. And I'm pretty sure I would just like go to the actual link. I don't really care about it right now, but this will really help me over the weekend. Oh, it does take you to Twitch. Let's watch one poll, bro. One poll. Then I'm gonna get out of here. I kind of feel like shit. I'm not sick though. Let's play Hightail. Fuck is that? Hightail. It's an adventure for creation and play. It's Minecraft, but it looks better. Oh, I've never played Minecraft. I'm not into that. I'm out.
Get Medica.
Get him up. Thoughts on Battlefield 6? Banger game. This is the best Battlefield I've ever played.
Soaking in 2.
How many hours in Battlefield do I have? $400 hours?
1. Done.
Just in case you guys were curious, I did send my cooldowns and get sent up again.
It's like a good 60% chance.
5,
I got
4,
sent up on
3,
back-to-backs. Felt bad.
2, 1.
We going back to
Are we getting a Race World last year on Monday? Hell yeah, bitch. What are y'all posting the D colon face for? The literal person I called a bitch said, "My man." You're just mad
Lines
for
adjust.
someone that's not mad. How does this fight go again?
go?
Oh, yeah.
My game crashed.
So sick, dude. Just die quick.
You have the pool on you too.
That's awesome.
So sick, dude. I love that.
If Liquid had to kill Demi again right now, how many pulls would it take? I don't know. I think they kill it every week. I haven't killed it in a long time. I haven't been a part of a kill. I just exist. Yerd? Yeah, I'm gonna dip. Not feeling super good. I'm gonna do Race World last this weekend though. Maybe multiple days. Remember to blow up.